Good evening. Welcome to Recovering Perfectionist Mama, Grace in Progress. Today we're talking about why silence isn't weakness. Why silence isn't weakness and why women are punished for it. Silence is not a lack of strength. Silence is not a lack of truth. And silence is not the same thing as secrecy. But culturally and legally, we treat silence very differently depending on who is silent. And nowhere is this more obvious than how we interpret silence in men versus silence in women. When men are silent, they are called stoic. When a man goes quiet, we assign him dignity. We say he's reserved, he's thinking, he doesn't need to explain himself. He's the strong, silent type. His silence is framed as self-control. In courtrooms, in workplaces, in public narratives and families, a quiet man is often assumed to be disciplined, contained, and even morally serious. When women are silent, they are treated as suspicious. But when a woman goes silent, her silence is interrogated. She is asked, "Why won't you talk? What are you hiding? Why are you being cold? Why won't you explain yourself?" Silence in women is framed as withholding, not restraint. It's as manipulation, as passive aggression, as guilt, as emotional failure. And this double standard follows women everywhere, especially into moments where silence is not only reasonable, but necessary. The unspoken rule: women must perform emotional transparency. Here's the rule no one writes down, but everyone enforces. Women are expected to explain themselves emotionally at all times. You must narrate your feelings, justify your boundaries, translate your discomfort, reassure everyone else that they're okay, even when you are not. And when you don't perform that emotional transparency, you are punished. This is where moral injury begins. Moral injury occurs when a person is forced to act against their internal sense of rightness, not because they want to, but because the system demands it. For women, that injury often sounds like this: if I don't explain myself, I'll be misunderstood. If I don't soften this, I'll be labeled difficult. If I don't talk, I'll be punished. So women speak when silence would protect them. They disclose when privacy would heal them. They perform vulnerability to maintain social safety. And over time, this creates exhaustion, resentment, and emotional fragmentation. Silence as a boundary, not as a weapon. Here's the truth that often gets lost. Silence is not inherently aggressive. Silence can be containment. Silence can be self-protection. Silence can be wisdom. But because women are socialized to soothe, explain, and emotionally manage others, silence gets misinterpreted as defiance. Especially when a woman won't explain a boundary, won't defend herself against a false narrative, won't provide emotional labor on demand. Her silence threatens the expectation of access. Why this shows up in courtrooms and families alike. This isn't just cultural, it's institutional. In legal contexts, a silent man is often assumed to be exercising rights. A silent woman is often assumed to be hiding things. In families, a quiet son is independent. A quiet daughter is cold, distant, or punishing. In workplaces, a man who doesn't explain is focused. A woman who doesn't explain is uncooperative. Same behavior, different moral judgment. Reclaiming silence without shame. Here's the reclamation. Silence does not require justification. Privacy is not guilt. Boundaries do not require narration. You are allowed to be quiet without explaining, process internally, withhold access to your inner world, and let your silence stand as a complete sentence. Silence is not weakness. It is often the last refuge of integrity in a world that demands constant performance. And because you aren't performing, you're the problem, right? In closing, sometimes silence isn't what breaks people. Sometimes it's what saves them. Thank you for tuning in to Recovering Perfectionist Mama, Grace in Progress. And once again, I want to say thank you for tuning in. It really means a lot to me. If you have some story ideas that you're interested in, feel free to drop them in the community. I do respond and engage in the community, and I would love to see what you'd like to hear about. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.